Okay, I'm getting ready to solder up the flywheel wires onto the flight controller in place of the ones for the other GPS. I have never showed anybody this. This is one of my favorite tools for soldering. This is called a solder sucker. It works really good. You push it down with one hand and it's spring loaded, and you push it down with one hand, put the soldering iron and the tip of this where you want to desolder, and just hit the button. It does a real good job. So what I'm going to try to do this time is I'm going to try to suck all the solder off those 6 connections there, and I'm going to try to put the wires for the flywheel through hole and then solder them back down. I found a nick in the blue wire on the flywheel, so I put a piece of shrink tubing on it to kind of insulate it back up. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, when you're pushing this plunger in to arm it, you're also cleaning out the bottom down here. Let me see if I can make this show. When I push the plunger completely in, oops, there we go. See the little piece of metal that comes out of the end? That's to clean out everything. You will find it spits out the solder that you just sucked up into it. So you don't want to hold it over the board as you push the plunger down to do another suck. You want to suck the solder out, move it away from your board, then push the plunger down to get ready again. You can even do it like that a couple times to clean it out. Then go back to the board and go again. These things work great. It did pretty well on this job. It's going to be hard for me to hand hold this. You can see the first one on the left, the solder didn't completely come out of the hole, but that's okay. My wire will melt that. My soldering iron will melt that, and the wire will push through as I put it in. The next two completely sucked the solder out and just got my pad there again. The ground there must have a lot of solder underneath or something, or that one's been overheated. And the DA and clock there you see is another. It's just the hole with the original pad with a little bit of solder on top of the original pad. So reason for using the solder sucker is to try to keep from goobering up your circuit board with repairs. Just a little side thing there. Again, sorry about hand holding this, but there's my solder job after the fact. Not too bad. Oops, need some light on it. There we go. Sufficient. So I took it outside on the notebook, and look at that, 6 and 7. It's been out here 10 minutes. I don't know what to think at this point. Well, this is a bummer. If you look at this now, there's a M10Q 50883 attached to this flight controller, the bench flight controller, an H743 wing version 2, and we have 21 satellites. It looks to me like the problem here is the flight controller. The H743 Slim and the H743 Mini don't seem to want to do this, but the H743 version 2 will. So is that insane or what? It's kind of boiled down to, after all my backflips and hard work, it looks like it's a hardware problem with those two flight controllers, the H743 Slim and the H743 Mini. With that showing a M10 5883 GPS outside locked up with 21 satellites, where I've never gotten more than 10 or 12 before, I can't make any other conclusions.
So the bummer is right now I'm going to have to email Maytag and discuss this with them, that their H743 Slim, H743 Mini doesn't do what this H743 V2 will. And that gets back into the garbage of they're going to send me some kind of message back that's basically blowing smoke up my dress and will not advance the ball anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of these M10Q 5883s on the flame wheel, which does have a H743 flight controller in it, not a mini or a slim. I'm going to see what it does. But I'm still going to email Maytag and ask. Can't find any help anywhere else in the world, but this is what my troubleshooting over this whole garbage has boiled down to, in my humble opinion. What do you think? So I'm going to leave this as video 4 of while I email Maytag and while I experiment on the flame wheel as a separate thing. And then once I finally find the ultimate answer, I'll come back and make a 5 of 5, hopefully, of this GPS problem chasing video. Boy, Tron God gets me right and left sometimes. Thank you, guys.